Hey, this is Ben, and welcome to Movies That Make a Grown Man Cry, a series where we celebrate all things tear-inducing and maybe learn a bit about ourselves along the way. Now, I'm just going to put this out there at the beginning. I'm a grown man, and it takes a lot to get me crying. So this series isn't going to last very long, because a grown man like me isn't going to cry at many things. Only the deeply moving stuff, like Manchester by the Sea, Magnolia, Schindler's List, that opening scene in Up, The Iron Giant, Old Yeller, Marley and Me. Sometimes I cry at This Is Us, but I definitely don't do it that often, just like once an episode. That scene in Spy Kids 3D where they leave that video game girl behind and she cries that shiny tear. Remember E.T.? I sure do. When I was a kid, 3 things were certain: death, taxes, and E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial playing on AMC when I got home from school. That and Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and occasionally Jaws. I'll be honest, I didn't care for the old bug-eyed prune back in the day. I thought the movie was long, boring, and kinda scary. But that was then, and this is now. Now I have to keep a tissue box handy whenever I watch this thing. Why the dramatic change? Well, I'm glad you asked. The truth is, E.T. makes me cry because it's not a movie for kids. I mean, yeah, kids might enjoy it, but they're not the movie's target audience. Adults are. Specifically, adults who remember what it was like to be kids. So it's a movie about the beauty of childhood innocence. No. Not like that. That's not what I mean. Nope.
I'm sorry, Mr. Walker. I'm staying here.
That's definitely not it.
I've heard
Gah!
but
Maybe an elf or a leprechaun.
it was nothing like that, penis breath!
Elliot!
That's more like it.
Down.
E.T. works primarily because Spielberg understands kids. They're not perfect, doe-eyed little angels because innocence and perfection aren't the same thing. Kids are just creatures who still haven't gotten used to the world. They're still experiencing its beauty for the first time, its danger for the first time, its loss for the first time. I'm sure my mom can tell you that my innocence also made me a pain in the butt. But that's how all of us react when we first experience the rawness of existing. Frankly, this is a theme that filmmakers mess up a lot. They oversimplify things and mistake purity for innocence. And it always comes off as sappy, idealistic, and quite frankly, a little bit creepy. Sometimes you grow up to play Norman Bates, and people wonder what was going on behind that sweet little porcelain smile the whole time. And I don't care if Freddie Highmore is playing the good doctor right now. Whoop-de-doo, I'm not buying it. The cat's already out of the bag, Freddie. We already know who you are. You can't do that, Freddie. You can't just pull a 180 and expect us all to trust you again. Where was I? Whew, innocence.
Ouch!
It was poison and
Ouch.
you drank it to save my life. Tink, dear Tink, darling.
Melissa Matheson, who co-wrote the script for E.T. with Steven Spielberg, went through an interesting process of creating the character. She interviewed real kids and asked them what kind of superpowers they would want an imaginary alien friend to have. And she noted that a large number of them didn't ask for anything spectacular, like super speed or strength or anything like that. They wanted somebody who could take the owies away. Matheson thought that these ideas were so thematically important that she structured E.T.'s character around them. He's a metaphor for childhood. It's innocence, ignorance, bluntness, and idealism. That's why E.T. and Elliot share the mental connection that they do. They don't think each other's thoughts, they feel each other's feelings. They're not connected by intellect, they're connected by emotions and intuition. They both live in the world of childhood. Contrast this with the world of adults, who are basically just kids who sat out on the counter for too long. They're all best summed up by the lead scientist, who explains to Elliot that when he was a kid, he always used to dream about communicating with somebody from another planet. Then he got older, and his childhood dreams mutated into something more analytical. You can really see this theme play out in E.T.'s death scene. All the adults are concerned with, adult stuff, like E.T.'s vitals and crap like that. But Elliot is concerned with E.T. being scared. His fresh take on the world gives him a unique vantage point. To see E.T. not as a discovery, but as a person. Sorry, got something stuck in my throat right there. I think that's why this scene traumatized me so much as a kid. Because it was like watching the death of innocence. Up until now, we've seen E.T. like the kids experience him. This mystical being who seems just as much spiritual as physical. But now we have to watch him splayed out on an operating table like any other biological organism. The world of adults invades the world of kids. Which is why it's such a big deal when E.T. comes back to life.
E.T. phone home. Home.
Is it sweet and sentimental? You bet. But I don't care at this point. I've been through enough, man. I'm ready to see these kids kick some adult butt. Full disclosure here. E.T.'s escape is one of my favorite scenes of all time. We've been through so much with these kids, and now it's time to watch them ride circles around these stupid adults. Everything about this scene, the music, the editing, the emotion, it's all just spot on. It gets me so friggin' pumped. Yeah, take that, you Nimrod. Go home and regret your life decisions, you phony. Man, I'm feeling good right now. I'm gonna make it through this thing. I'm trying to remember what it is that usually upsets me so much about it. Wait. No. I remember. Just stop it. Oh, nuts. This part gets me every time.
Come.
Stay.
You unzip me. It's all coming back. It's all coming back. I hate you. It's all coming back. You understand? Oh, you unzip me. Ow. Ow.
The pain of parting is the only thing that E.T. can't heal. But here's something that I find interesting. When they part, E.T. leaves Elliot with a gift.
I'll be right here.
Since his character represents seeing the world through a child's eyes, E.T. never really has to go anywhere. Everything that's happened has forced Elliot to grow up, but at the same time it's also solidified that sense of awe and wonder that we always associate with kids. That's why this movie hits me right in the childhood. Or I guess it brings my childhood back and then hits it. It just knocks it the frick out. The whole thing is a love letter to growing up without losing that special spark. And it reminds me that I don't have to be a kid to see the world like a kid.